Welcome to the Savvy Ladies Wednesday Wisdom webinar. I'm Maggie Montemuro, and I'm the Marketing Manager at Savvy Ladies. This is a quick reminder that if you have any questions during the webinar, you can type them into the chat box or email info@savvyladies.org. Today's presenter is Heather Markel, founder of Bullbuster Business Coaching. Heather is a certified professional coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and customer service with Fortune 500 companies. Heather also has over 10 years of experience running small businesses. She is the founder of the Expat Coach Association and Directory, former board member of the ICF's New York chapter, and former president of BRG1 for the Manhattan Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for being with us today, Heather, and let's get started.
Great, thank you for having me. So I'm really excited to talk to you about how to create a sustainable business by going from bull to brilliance. And it's really about 4 simple keys that will help you just create amazing profit by busting your bull and stepping into your brilliance-based business. So this talk is great for you if you are completely tired of feeling like you work really, really hard, but somehow your business doesn't seem to be working hard back for you, and you'd like 4 powerful keys to give you both the life and the money that you want. Maybe you've tried everything. You've invested in lots of different things, and it just seems like nothing works, but you're open to trying something different that works every time. You may be someone that struggles to love sales. I mean, look, we know we have to sell, but if you kind of are like, oh, I just feel completely out of integrity when I do this, how do I face myself in the mirror? This will be a great talk for you. And also, if you're wondering, you might have that idea in your head of where you're trying to go, but your life and your business doesn't seem to match that vision. This is a great place for you to be as well. So what we're going to talk about is why basing your business on your brilliance makes you more money every single time. And I'm actually going to be expanding on what I mean by brilliance quite a bit in this presentation. We'll talk about the one thing you need to do first before you try any tactic or strategy. And in fact, if you don't do this first, whatever you do try just simply won't have as big an impact as it could. We'll also look at why your problem is not that your vision is too big, it's that it's too small. And also a really powerful way to attract more clients and business than you think is possible. So talking about brilliance and energy, I have just experienced this so many times working with my clients as well for myself, that when you listen to energy, opportunities happen and brilliant ideas emerge. And when you're aligned with your unique brilliance, that's what creates this dynamic energy. And in fact, your brilliance is like an energetic blueprint. But so when you revolve basically everything you do around that blueprint, that's when you end up attracting more clients and income. But if you're trying to fit your blueprint into somebody else's, that's when you end up struggling, you work hard, you don't get the results, and you end up feeling like giving up. So the big problem is that you've been told, you've probably there's so many people out there that can help us, right? And you've been told how it is to build a successful business, but everything you've been told just feels completely wrong. And while you try to do what you've been told, your whole body's screaming out, this is just the wrong way to do it. And in my experience, that is actually energy calling to you, and you are not listening to it. The problem is you don't know any other way to try to make it work. So you keep on following a guru's advice, or you look at what everybody else is doing, you try to do it too, and you end up completely disconnected from your energy, and that is where you are trying to fit your blueprint around someone else's, and that's what's causing the struggle. Now, this all turns around when you create a business that's built around your brilliance and not some gurus, because your brilliance is really what you were born to do. And the fact is, your brilliance, all this energy that's within you, is not in some far off place. It's where you are right now. And you can choose to step into your brilliance someday, months from now, years from now, or we can do it right now. And that's what I'd like to help you do with this presentation. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction. Maggie covered a lot of it, so that's great. You can speed through that. I'll talk about the bull that made me into the bull buster, and then I'm going to share with you those 4 keys to building your brilliance-based business, and then give you some next steps. So a little bit about me, as Maggie mentioned, so I am the founder of Bullbuster Business Coaching. Again, my name is Heather Markel. And what I do is I help my clients to maximize their profit by tapping in. I actually read people's energy and I get them to basically wrap their business and their sales and marketing strategies around their own energy rather than trying to fit it into somebody else's system. So it's pretty powerful and they end up having really powerful results, and it's a lot of fun for me. So we already talked about my background, so I'm just going to speed through. I do speak as well 6 languages. I've lived in 4 countries, which is what led me to start the Expat Coach Association and Directory, which ended up being great learning opportunities for me about online marketing as well as marketing a community. And in my spare time, I am a volunteer for Big Apple Greeter, which is a great, wonderful opportunity if you guys are looking for something to volunteer for. You get to give non-New Yorkers a New Yorker's point of view of New York. It's kind of cool. And I'm a board member and player on La Boule New-Yorkaise, which is a pétanque league. Pétanque is kind of like bocce ball, so it's really fun. Great group of people, great game. So that's a little bit about me, but let's jump into bull. So the bull that made me the bull buster. So I was married to the wrong guy for 6 years. And during that time, I completely disconnected from myself. I know I had intuition, I completely ignored it. This is the only picture I could find, but I gained 3 dress sizes. I was completely miserable. I was in a lot of pain emotionally and physically. And as we all know, when you are in emotional pain, if you don't deal with that, you end up with physical pain. And for me, that was arthritis, tendonitis, 2 herniated discs. It just got worse and worse. But finally, I made a decision. I chose, and I left my marriage. And when I did, what I learned is that what really kept me stuck in the indecision of whether to stay or go was my bull. And the way I see that bull is it was judgments that I was making about myself to avoid being myself. So really, really important. I also discovered that unfortunately, bull is not just about staying in bad relationships. Bull keeps us in all kinds of bad situations, including not making the money that we want to make. So when I busted my bull, left the marriage, what happened was I dropped 3 dress sizes, right? I went back to my weight. I was so happy. I reconnected with myself, and I finally was able to generate real money in my business and connect with people and help them in a way that I love being of service. And it really happened because I busted my bull and tapped into my brilliance. The thing is that to do that, it was really painful. It took a lot of time. And I'm hoping that I can save you that pain and that time by helping you reap the rewards of what I went through. So here's what I learned. Bull is crippling. It leads to feeling stuck and powerless. And again, if we are emotionally stuck, those emotions, if we don't deal with them, can become physical impairments, like I mentioned. Bull makes us less of who we are. It's a really weird side effect, right? Our fears cause us to dull down and hide our best selves, right? And also, unfortunately, the more we try to avoid being exposed as blank, right? Like I was trying to avoid being an awful person for leaving her husband, right? But what was I doing? I was staying in my marriage and being awful. So, we end up being the very thing that we are avoiding. The other truth is bull is everywhere. If you have bull in your business, you can trust it is probably somewhere else. For example, I once worked with this lovely gentleman that had what I call loyalty bull. His business was doing great, but we both knew it could do a lot better. And what happened was we looked at his loyalty bull came out as committing to volunteer opportunities with great organizations. And he would find one, go volunteer, he'd love it. Then he'd find another organization, volunteer there too, he'd love it. Then he'd find 3, 4, wow, he was volunteering all over the place. Because of loyalty bull, he didn't want to leave any of them because he felt that would be not loyal. That contributed to what I called commitment bull because he felt he needed to be committed. And I said, if you think about it, you are committed to so many different organizations. You're actually not really committed to any of them because you aren't giving any real time to any of them. And that's when he realized that same issue was also permeating family relationships and so forth. So just an example to show you that if bull's in one place, it's usually all over the place. And in business, bull can often look like trying to fit yourself into someone else's success formula and finding out it doesn't work for you. So if we look at the brilliance, right? Brilliance, again, for me, it's about that natural energy, the personality each of us has. And what's glorious about it is that it is the place where there simply is no competition because there's nobody else exactly like you on this planet. The other thing, though, is that brilliance is really powerful, and that's why we end up trying to protect it. And sometimes it can be really scary, right? Because our brilliance is what makes us stand out, and standing out can be a really scary thing. So those are important pieces of your brilliance. So let's look at what's in the way of your brilliance, how to get it out of your way, and how to transform your business. So the first key, you've got to bust your bull. So what's getting in the way of you really fully expressing your brilliance is your bull. And if you don't get your bull out of the way first, you can do anything you like, but it just won't seem to work. And in fact, that's what's contributing to you feeling like you're putting in 20 times the effort for half the results. Now, your bull in concept is you fighting your natural energy. It is an energetic block. And what it means is that there's some area where you are forcing things that you shouldn't be forcing. And you've created this block through events, experiences, judgments from other people that are all getting in the way of what you want. And I see bull in two flavors, internal and external. So internal are those thoughts and fears that we have, things like wanting to please people. Oh, I'm so sorry, my phone is ringing. We're just gonna have to ignore that. So you wanna please people, you're afraid that sales is something sleazy, and so are you if you step into doing it. You're afraid of charging too much. You're afraid that nobody will buy from you. You might be afraid your phone will ring in the middle of a presentation. You are also end up comparing yourself to more successful people, and you realize that you fall short, right? We all have someone in our field that's just doing dynamically well, and when we try to compare ourselves, like, oh my God, I'm never gonna reach that, right? So that's an example of internal bull. External bull are actions. So that looks like doing the same activities the same way over and over and expecting different results. Or you might be focusing on learning more instead of doing revenue generating activities. Now, two of the biggest bulls that I've seen in my clients, people pleasing bull and sales bull. So an example of people pleasing bull. In an effort to please a prospect, you lower your rates. Now, I once actually had a client that was having trouble paying off her rent. And it turned out that was because everyone she would meet, she immediately she'd say her rate and she would judge immediately the reaction as they needed her to lower her rates. And she just cut her prices in half. Now, the problem, it's not just that you can't pay your rent with that, but the other problem is that you have completely devalued your service in an effort to please someone. Now, when you show up to work with that person, they show up, they've devalued you, you've devalued you. So you feel devalued, you don't show up your best. And this is how we all create those PITA clients, right? Pain in the butt clients. We create them, right? Because we're so focused on pleasing that we create this experience. Now, the other one is sales bull. Well, in sales bull, maybe you don't want to be a nuisance. So instead of calling people, whether that's to work with you or come to an event or whatever it is, you rely on email and you don't get a response. And you only send one email, of course, because you don't want to be bothersome, and you determine that if they didn't respond, they weren't interested. When most likely, as I've done this exercise multiple times in a room, I can tell you most people today have 2 up to 10 or 15 different email addresses, and they just aren't actually reading all of their emails. So again, sales bull is another way that contributes to frustration and struggle in your business. Now, the truth about your bull. So you can only go as fast as your resistance will let you. And if you have bull about something, you are essentially in resistance. And when you are in resistance, you just can't move forward. And until you get your bull out of the way, your business can seem like this beautiful, sexy, awesome Porsche. The problem is it's got square tires and it's got a full tank of gas, but you're at the wheel gunning the brakes. And so until you get this bull out of the way, I'm sorry to say this, but basically when it comes to your business, you are completely screwed. So when you are screwed, what is the experience of being screwed? You are stuck. You don't know what to do. You're overwhelmed. It's like you could be standing in place, but spinning in circles. And essentially your energy is frozen and it freezes your income, and that leaves you cash poor because the energetic flow of money gets stuck. And every dollar you spend just feels like it's a waste rather than an investment. You end up repeating the same strategies that didn't work before, hoping they'll work better, when in fact what you're missing is that these things just are not aligned with your energy. You end up unconnected from your energetic source, that brilliance, right? It's that thing that you do better than anything else. And if you can't tap into that brilliance, right, that leaves you also stuck in your business. And that all leaves you doubtful that your business can work. So the impact of the bull, right? The problem is not what you're doing, it's the bull that keeps you locked into making those same mistakes over and over. So until you bust that bull, you aren't able to see that all those things that you're afraid of or afraid of doing are completely insane. Like when I left, until I left my marriage, only then could I see that all these thoughts I had put in my head were just completely nuts and they just weren't being of service to me or him or anyone else. So the problem is in the meantime, you end up, you can do the cold calls, the workshops, you can do all these different things, but unless you bust your bull, you just end up making someone else rich, learning strategies that won't work for you instead of making yourself rich. And this really is not about tactics. It's about getting a part of you out of the way that is stopping your success. So nothing is going to change until you bust the bull, right? Bull is what makes you hide that most authentic part of yourself. And when you do that, unfortunately, profit ends up hiding from you. But once your bull is out of the way, not only can you see clearly to the path you want, but it's also easier to reach. And what opens up is that you feel connected with and confident of what drives you. And so you're going to show up ready to succeed instead of being afraid to fail. And you'll end up making more money because sales conversations become easier when you feel more confident and you don't think of sales as sleazy. And you attract clients and opportunities because you are radiating your brilliance instead of blocking it. So how do you bust your bull? When I work with my new clients, I actually start out by helping them do this, and we spend an entire session on it. And we get it out of the way right from the start. So obviously we can't do that on this call, but I did want to give you a simple exercise to just give you a glimpse of what that's like. So if you have a sheet of paper and a pen or pencil, great, or you can use your smartphone, whatever, or just make a mental note. Think about the one situation or fear right now that you feel is the biggest block to your business success. Don't overthink it. It's the answer is probably right there. You know, it's a it could be money, it could be an investment you need to make, it could be overwhelm, it could be not knowing, whatever it is, just write that one thing down, because in the middle of that is your biggest bull. So take the fear first, and then you begin to understand your bull. And as a bonus, when you realize that, think about where else in your life that same bull shows up. So that's a taste of busting the bull. So key number 2, step into a bigger vision. Because once you've busted your bull, you are freed up to step into this vision that you've held for your business and life, but were never able to achieve. So the problem with your vision is that, you know, whatever you're doing, you just can't seem to build the success that you see in your head. You might have the idea, like, you know, you want to help people or give back. You just can't figure out how to make that a reality. And the more you think about it, the further away it seems. And if you try to put specifics to it, you imagine it from your present. In fact, I can't tell you how many people I talk to and I say something like, hey, let's wave a magic wand and it's this amazing future. You can have anything you want. And the sentence starts, well, you know, with the debt that I have, I guess I'd have to get rid of that debt. And so the envisioning is actually not being separated from the present reality. So that's a challenge. The problem is that the reason that you can't embody this vision is because it's a concept, right? You're not you're not connecting to it energetically. But when you do connect to it energetically, that's when you get those crazy ideas. You meet all the right people at a networking event. People come to the back of the room. In fact, just last night, I was at a wonderful dinner. It was a networking event and dinner with assigned seating. And I ended up sitting next to this wonderful woman. She's an acupuncturist, and she completely embodies what I'm talking about right now. And she said to me, you know, the woman sitting next to me, and this is all random, not her choice, said that she's been praying to the universe to send her an acupuncturist. Boom, right? You think that's random, but I mean, it gives me chills because that's the stuff that happens when we connect energetically to our brilliance, to our authentic energy, and bring that out. And so the reason all of this happens, right, is because when we are connected to it, it's not, the vision isn't to post it on the wall or a vision board anymore. Again, it's that energetic connection that allows everything you need to be attracted to you. So your bigger vision brings with it resources, connections, everything that leads to the success you want, because everything that is perfectly aligned to what you're wanting most. And the reason that your business and life right now aren't a match to what's in your head is because what's in your head is not big enough for all the reasons I just explained. And you're not embracing that full vision because you can't let go of creating from your present reality. And you're afraid of what might change if you actually stepped in to the real bigger vision that you have. Who might you become if you get everything you want? And what fascinates me, I actually have a client who, when we started, she was deeply afraid of being in lack, right? Not having enough money. But as we pushed further with that, what we found out is the true fear was actually having abundance, because she was afraid not only of who she would become, but about how she would be judged by some of her peers, right? And that was really important for her to realize because it was keeping her stuck in that low income. So that's an example of how this can all get tied up. And the other thing is, what if you have to start all over, right? That's another thing that can hold you back from the bigger vision. But are these feels real? No, they aren't. So the question is, how many more futures are you going to talk yourself out of before you realize that those fears are irrational? Because since your bigger vision is that perfect fit for you, everything has a flow to it and feels a lot more easy than what you're doing now. And it's where you have access to your most powerful energetic state. When you step into that bigger vision, you experience the things that you see in your head on a regular basis. And opportunities, like I mentioned with the acupuncturist, right? Those just fall into your lap instead of you feeling like you have to work like a dog for scraps. And you get to check things off your bucket list. This is the most awesome part, right? Instead of thinking, oh, one day when I have enough money or time, I'll do blah, 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 right? You get to actually expect to experience those things now. Selling also becomes so much easier because you realize that you're working towards a dream, not just trying to pay your rent. Well, how do you step into your bigger vision? So again, I'm going to give you a really quick exercise for this. I want you to imagine that I just gave you $100,000. $100,000. Your bank account has just grown by $100,000. So take that in for one moment. So now, here's the tricky part. Now you have to spend it. You can only spend it on one thing, and the one thing has to cost that much. And if it's $99,000, that's okay. One thing, but here are the rules. This thing has to be for you. You cannot save it. You cannot invest it. You cannot give it away to somebody. You cannot donate it to charity. This is 100% for you. What would you spend it on? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? because from here, you can start selling your dream, not just a program that pays your rent. So that's how you start connecting to this. The third key is about creating your brilliance-based business, and you want to build it around what you're great at, not some other guru. So once you are free to build the business you want, the floodgates open, right? Because you realize you can build it around what you're best at, and that's what people are itching to pay for. So if your business is not sustainable yet or not going as quite as well as you'd like, you've probably created it around something that other people told you that you should do to make money. Or you might be doing what you love, but not using your brilliance as the way to make money at it. And a great example, I had a VIP client who came in, she looked completely unhappy. She just, she had a permanent frown. She just, when we explored what was going on, it turned out that she really was not happy about, it was her business, and she was delivering services to her clients that she actually really did not like doing. So I asked her, why are you doing this? And she told me, well, I've been told that this is what I have to do to make money. And I said, really? Well, what do you want to do? And she told me, and she's like, but I can't make money at that. And I said, well, sure you can. So we actually spent the time tweaking her business a bit, very easily, and mapping out a plan, packaging, pricing for her to actually make money doing what she loved. What happened was she stepped into this whole new person. She was smiling, she was radiating light and energy, right? So that's the difference. That's what happens when you build that business around something that brings you joy, right? The problem is, like her, you might believe it's too much work to stop doing what you created to go after doing what you really want. The problem is that you're going to hit a ceiling on any business that your heart is not in, right? It's painful to do the work. Why? At some point, you probably left other jobs that were painful, right? You're recreating that same scenario. And when you have to follow a model that doesn't resonate with you or provide a service that you don't enjoy doing, your motivation drains down the sink. And you can't tap into your highest energetic source when you're doing that. And that results in low income and low excitement. And then you just wonder whether to give up. So to create that sustainable business, you need to build a business around your heart and prestige. And you need to start with that energetic brilliance instead of a model and trying to fit your brilliance into it. Because like I mentioned, in that energetic state, you are just naturally radiating something that people are attracted to, right? But the problem is that you may think that you cannot make money with your brilliance, but the actual truth is that's the only place where the sustainable money is. Brilliance is that energy, right? That highest energetic state. And it's what makes you shine. Literally, I saw it with my client. I can't even explain it to you. It was like she was like the sun, right? That's what happens when you are really powerfully connected to what you're meant to be doing. And it happens when you end up aligning all the talents you have in the right way. And when you align your sales and marketing activities all around it, right? Really important. And when you are in your brilliance, you end up connected to your future in the present. It's a wild experience. That connection can be in the now, right? And I help people have this be their ongoing experience rather than just like a momentary pop. So this means that you're going to start living from your brilliance some of the time and then all of the time. And so what becomes possible is that people are going to find the money to pay you because they love your energy and they want their energy just like yours. Selling gets easier. You're grounded, you're connected, you're more inspired. And prospects, this is when you think it's random, but prospects from a while ago just suddenly show up and they say, I got to work with you. I need to hire you. I wasn't ready before, I'm ready now. So how to create your brilliance-based business. Write the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this question. What are you great at? What are you great at? And you know the answer. You may shy away from it, and if you are, let me just tell you that there was once this woman that thought that she could make a great mop. Well, they made a major motion picture out of her story. And once there was this man that thought he could go to Times Square in his underwear and play a guitar, and he is now, I think he's connected with a car franchisor and super wealthy, right? So really, what are you great at? Because you definitely can use this and wrap your business around it. Fourth and final key, discover your brilliance to bucks secret weapon. The truth is, you don't have to know everything. The cycle that you end up in, right, is that you believe there's a massive list of things that you have to master before you can be successful. I got to write a blog. I got to speak. I need social media, website. Whew. So you end up trying to do everything, and it is exhausting you. And each thing you do, you ever notice that as soon as you plug into one thing, you suddenly have to study 3 more things? I got to learn how to make a program. Oh, well, then I got to learn how to hold a webinar so I can tell people about the program. And it goes on and on and on. And while you're doing those things, you're not getting any clients. So you end up wondering if you should give up. But when your business is based on your brilliance, then the way you make the money can come from focusing on just a couple of things, right? And my brilliance to bucks rule is that 90% of your profit can come from only 10% of the possible income generating activities out there. And when you discover what your weapon is, then the dream of money and the time to enjoy it are all yours, right? You feel like you can let go of mastering everything, and you enjoy the techniques you do use, and they bring you results. You get more energy so that you can enjoy the time that you have doing other stuff you want to do outside of your business. You have the money to get the things you hate to do off your plate. And what's really neat is you create massive pay it forward, because when you have more money, you can hire someone else to do the stuff you hate, like accounting, bookkeeping, spreadsheets, whatever it is, because someone else out there would love to do that and get paid for it. So think about the experience that you are creating. It's awesome. And you end up having the money to have the life experience you want as well, right? So remember that a simple way to look at this is, if your brilliance is expressing ideas and concepts in front of people, speaking might be a really powerful way for you to get clients. If you're a connector, you might want to use networking events. If you're creative, right? So many different ways to use creativity. You might even think of a product launch, right? So that when you're in your highest energy state, you also help other people make money in the same way while you're making money from it as well. So, how to discover what your brilliance to bucks secret weapon is: write down 3 things you would love to stop doing in your business right now. Again, could be the bookkeeping, could be the spreadsheets, could be anything. Write down those 3 things you really, really want to stop doing, because this will give you a really simple idea of what's keeping you from your innate brilliance. Because while you are, again, as I've shown you, when you're doing things you don't enjoy, it pulls your energetic state down. So we all have to learn to ask for help. Help can look different for different people, but we need to step more powerfully into doing what pumps up our energy and let go of the things that do not. So just to show you next steps and to review what we talked about. So the 4 keys to busting your bull and building your brilliance-based business. The first key, you've got to bust your bull. And you've got to do it first, because your business experience will not change until you do that. The second part was stepping into a bigger vision. You want to sell, when you do this, you sell your deepest dream instead of a program that pays the rent, because you're energetically connected to that vision that ends up attracting everything that you need to realize it. The third point was create your brilliance-based business. You want to build the what you do, and also wrap your sales and marketing activities around what you're great at, rather than some guru, what a guru is great at, right? This is all about wrapping everything around your greatness. And that's where you end up finding that clients love your energy and will find the money to pay you. And the fourth tip was to discover your brilliance to bucks secret weapon. What's the 10% you should be focusing on? It's where you end up finding the money and the time and aligning everything together to the tools that authentically capitalize on your brilliance. So now you know that you need to bust your bull to step into a bigger vision and build that brilliance-based business. And your intuition may be screaming, yes, this is awesome. But here's the thing, logic, right? Your brain is like, well, how do I do this? Because how do you move ahead in your business so it really becomes this reflection of the biggest and the best in you? Because if you knew how to bust your bull by yourself, you probably would have hung up the phone by now. No one's really taught you how to do this, right? We've learned lots of different steps that we can follow that don't feel right. And when you get used to following other people's rules on what to do and find they work for other people but not you, that can be a really bad experience, right? So what you can do is that you need to get clear on how to run your business from your highest energy state and connect to it by getting your business in front of people in the ways that are in alignment with who you are, right? So everything can come from your brilliance and everything gets connected to your energy on an ongoing basis rather than just once in a while, right? And that's where all those connections and opportunities happen. So I'd like to offer you a couple of gifts. Everyone can get a free guide on tapping into your brilliance to make an extra 20K in 90 days, as well as my free tips to grow your business. And to do that, there's two options. If you have a smartphone, you can text "Yes, Heather" to 38470. Again, 38470. Make sure that is one word. And you are going to get a text message back, two text messages, one asking for your name and one asking for your email address. So you need to do all that to get that free report. If that sounds too complicated, I've also got a URL. You can just go to www.bit.ly/getbbnow. Hopefully you're on screen, you can see this. If not, I'll give you my email address in a moment to connect with me. And I'm also, if you sign up today, I'm also going to give you guys my authentic selling guide. It gives you the flow of a sales call. So it's not a script. I don't really like scripts. It just gives you elements of what to think about providing on the call, and also some specific Q&A that a lot of people ask me over and over again that might be helpful for you in your sales conversation. So I'll give you all that for free. And I want you for a moment to just imagine that instead of struggling, you're able to come from a place that feels natural and congruent, and you feel energized when you're doing it. And imagine being rewarded because of that with these amazing clients that are perfect for you and opportunities and lots of money. What would it be like, right? And if you'd like to know what it's like to stop forcing yourself into molds that don't fit and discover what your energetic destiny is, so you can discover your business destiny, right? Then I'd like to offer you something. This is not, though, for someone looking for a quick fix. And also, I've been talking a lot about energy and brilliance. I just want to clarify, this is not about going into a trance where either of us are rolling our eyes up to the ceiling or seeing dancing unicorns or anything, and money suddenly shows up in your inbox. That's not it at all. I'm not saying you can't do that. Hey, good for you if you can. That's great. I'm just saying that's not what I'm good at. But what I'm great at is helping you discover what your brilliance is and your highest possible energy, and to get you to operate from there. So if you are done taking no for an answer, and if you are not willing to go one more day, week, or month without knowing what your brilliance is, if you're sick of cookie cutter tactics and you want to know the best path to that brilliance and the path for you to convert that brilliance into a sustainable business, then here's how I can help you. I would like to offer you a business energy blueprint. And what I'm going to give you is an assessment of the bull that's really getting in your way, right? The biggest blocks, no judgment, how they're showing up for you. Then we'll look at what your unique energy is. It's really the brilliance blueprint that you were born with. And we'll look at what you really want for your business and your life, and how to align your brilliance to the profit that you can get, and explore the best ways for you to do that right now. And you'll end up with a path to profit that's revolved around your brilliance. And as you use it, you'll get more confidence in selling, and that, of course, grows your business. So if you are interested, you can sign up right now at www.bit.ly/energybizblueprint.com. Now, I don't know if some of you might be listening on audio only and not connected on the web. If you are, my email address is heather@bull2brilliance.com, so you can email me if you have any trouble at all. And as a reminder, if you are on the web with us, everything is up here, where to go to sign up for that business energy blueprint, and also If you would like the free guide and tips and the authentic selling guide, you can send that text message to 38470 and just text yes, Heather, all one word, and I will get that out to you today. So Maggie, at this point, if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Great, thank you, Heather. Just a reminder, you can type your questions into the chat box here or email info@savvyladies.org. And the first question we had come in already is, in building my online business, I started out by offering free content to attract my ideal prospects, and a lot of them are friends and family. Now that I want to start monetizing, do you have any recommendations for how to approach this step without making my prospects feel like all I wanted to do was sell to them?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I would, if you want to sign up for the business energy blueprint with me, I can take it further than on this call. I'd love to talk to you. So yeah, I mean, there's first off, you need to understand what your prospects want, and they're, you know, and we need to understand. Like, I wish we could talk on the phone. Um, so. When we offer something to people, right, it's about giving value first and being of service. And if everything that you put out is in the vein of service, then it actually doesn't need to be pushy, slimy, and sleazy. And that's actually like the other, I'm actually doing a talk tonight on how to sell without feeling out of integrity and slimy and all that stuff. So the quick answer is that really, if you step into being of service instead of being pushy and selling, that's how you make, you know, you avoid tapping into that feeling of pushiness and salesdom. I'd love to have more information about sort of what you're trying to offer and where it's trying to go to give you a better answer. But in a quick answer, that's what I would say. And if we have time, if you want to type more into that question and just let me know a little bit more information, I can try to give you a more informed answer.
Okay, great. I'll let you know if we have more info come in. So I'll move on to the next question here, which is, are there some internal bulls holding me back that I may not even be aware of? And how would I become conscious of those?
Yeah. Um, there's always bull holding us back. I hate to say it. It's like, and you know, it's like when we reach one level of bull, then you know we kind of conquer one bull. You know, another one shows up. So it's always a constant growing. But yes, there is, and I would say like your first tip is, like I said, if you want to look at kind of where are you trying to take your business, and what's the one obstacle. Like if you just snap your fingers, go like, oh yeah, I can tell you today, like right now, like I know I'm not making as much money because, for example, I know I should be speaking, but it's just so much work, and I don't even know where to begin, right? So some bull that might be coming up is like on the ceiling, right, to begin with, that maybe there's overwhelm, there's the I don't know what to do bull, kind of like I'm um, you know, you can kind of be aware that the bull is really that you're not picking up the phone or emailing people that you know to find out, well, how do I get started doing speaking gigs? The second layer is more likely that you're not really even plunging into that because you're maybe afraid to present in front of people. And that can lead to, well, you know, I've got experience bull, for example. I don't know if I know enough to be able to stand in front of a room as an expert and tell people anything, right? So there's all these layers. So I'm trying to give you a simplistic way, an example to sort of start looking at getting more awareness of the bull. And again, I'm happy to help you go through this question live. If you want to set up a business energy blueprint call with me, and I can go deeper. But really the first step to gaining awareness of the bull is to start asking yourself, where are you not having the success that you want? And ask yourself, why am I not having this success? Because you know the answer to that question. And if you can verbalize it, then you can start gaining awareness of the bull that's actually keeping you from that success.
Okay, thanks. And the next question here is, I believe that all positive growth happens outside of our comfort zone. But how do you differentiate short-term discomfort that's worth putting up with from a bull that needs to be eliminated?
Wow, that's awesome. God, these questions are so good. I actually have the same belief. And the funny thing about a comfort zone, by the way, is I think that a comfort zone, once we expand and we push our comfort zone and we like dare to go through it, that uncomfort zone becomes a comfort zone. And then we have to keep pushing out. So I think I actually have, I come up with new bulls all the time, but it's like comfort bull is a bull. So not being willing to step outside your comfort zone is bull itself. And it lives in there. So I guess I see those, comfort zone and bull as related, or in that the bull is keeping you in the comfort zone. And if you could bust the bull, that's what allows you to start pushing through it and stepping into things that make you uncomfortable.
Okay, great. And the last question we have is, when you feel low on energy, what are some exercises or routines that you use to bring your thought levels back to high intensity and enthusiasm, where our minds perform at their best?
Yeah, that's great. That's a really great question. Actually, I moved earlier this year and it was energetically devastating for me. I just completely, like, I'm sorry, if anybody's ever moved, it's like pretty intense. I'll tell you what, the first thing I do if I'm at an energetic low is I just say to myself, I'm at an energetic low, and I'm gonna find a way to either sleep in, have a night to myself, whatever it is I need to do to just actually go down. Like if my energy is informing me, I'm tired, I need a break, something's off, then that to me says I actually need to take a break and stop doing so much and sit down and understand, why do I feel energetically low? And when I do that, I usually tap into, because I take the time to be with that low energy state, there's usually a learning in there. Something's trying to emerge. Maybe you simply are just tired. Maybe you need to change something in your business or your life, right? All of those things you start tapping into because you give yourself the time to tap into them. I find that low energy states happen a lot when we overextend ourselves, and it's our body's way of saying, whew, hold back. Or maybe we are giving time and energy to a direction or a resource that in this moment we are no longer aligned with. And we have to start admitting that we need to pull back some of that time and energy from certain places, give it back to ourselves so that we can funnel it into more productive areas. Because I think those areas that we want to contribute energy to constantly change throughout our life.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Heather, for a really fun and helpful presentation. And thank you for your offer to the Savvy Ladies community. And we will send this out to everyone with this information again. So I want to thank everyone who joined us today. We hope that we'll see you again. And thanks again so much, Heather.
Thank you. It's great to be here. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.